Welcome back. What's up? Welcome to the Dane Show, your place for everything drawing, animation, nerds, and gaming. I'm your host, Pierre, and I'm here with my co-host, Jules. What's good, Jules?
Hey, what's good, everybody? How y'all doing?
Yeah, long time no see. We ain't had no video in a hot minute. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we doing what we can do, man. We doing what we can do. So, I guess, update. Of course, I'm moving, or I finished moving last year. Just still haven't unpacked everything, so you can see all these boxes everywhere. Still getting the office together right now. I'm working on a living room, and that's coming together. How about you? What's been the deal with you, man?
Oh
You ain't. I
man,
see you
well,
ain't. I see you ain't update that that basement. You know what I'm saying? We've been doing a lot of updates, but no updates on the basement, man. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
that's crazy, right? Because I was saying that earlier. All
Yeah,
right, so for y'all that don't
yeah.
know, we own another business where we renovate houses. We buy houses, we renovate them, and refinance them. And I was just talking today about how this house has everything new in it, but I ain't touched nothing in my house. New flooring, new bathroom,
Right.
kitchen, whatever. But in my own personal property, ain't nothing been done. Um, but it is what it is. Yeah, haven't touched it, but it's still good, man. It got that old school, 70s show type vibe. We had a little table where everybody sitting around the
I
table and
mean, hey,
talk.
if that's the style you're going for, man, you can
No,
have
no,
you know that's the style you're going for.
it's free. It's so far it's free, so that's why it's like this now. It don't cost me nothing. Um, but eventually, yeah, the plan is to get up in it. But yeah, putting the money and everything else to make money. So that's just how it is. But it works for
Yeah,
now.
that's most. I get it,
Can't
man.
complain.
We all working on what I'm saying, a plan to get it all together. Other than that, look, man, we trying to bring y'all more content. We trying to stay consistent with it, but we have a couple of episodes in the cut, but we trying to restructure, trying to find out how we're gonna do this podcast stuff the effective way and a way that's gonna be beneficial to help y'all with art, drawing, animation, nerds, and gaming stuff. You just and help ourselves because we got other multiple things going on. So that being said, man, I just want to apologize for us not being there as much as we could be. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna try to stay consistent this year. We're gonna try to bust them out as much as we can, and you know, do it from there. So, anything else been going on with you, Jewels? I mean, we was talking business earlier, and we was talking other stuff too. But you want to get into one of those? You want to talk about one of those, or what?
Yeah, I mean, because like I said, honestly, man, yeah, as far as going on with me, like I said, it's just starting up this new venture, this new business, um,
Yeah,
and trying to deal with that. It's been taking a lot of our time, but and we do apologize because we've been neglectful on the other ventures that we have. So we're trying to be more consistent. It's like we're trying to have so many different trades in one hat, and we just got to learn to focus a bit. But we only human. But yeah, we can definitely get back into it. Definitely what we was talking about earlier, because like I was saying before, I'm an improvise type guy. If you get the conversation out of me one time, you know, I'm trying to keep it PG, but you know what I said.
man. And look, man.
I was
Look,
like,
man.
hey, ladies, one
We,
time, and look, I mean, it is what it is.
hey, man. Look,
I'm only
look.
good for one shot.
One shot, right? What? Look, one in the bucket, man. That's all you can do.
I,
I get
yeah, man.
it.
So yeah, you gonna get the best out of me in that one time. So
Hey,
so you
look,
best to
man.
wait
That's
and
why
hold it
we.
for later.
All right, so like. Let's just try to get back into it, right? So
Right.
we was talking. Look. This is a disclaimer for anybody anyway. Look, we grown, and if kids are listening to it, we, we gonna try to keep it as PG as we can, but at the end of the day, we talk about what we talk about, man.
Right, right.
And look, this we'll put a disclaimer at the front and let them know, what we talking about, what we not talking about. It's just in case any parents want to check it. But this just the way we gonna be doing this, man. I can't be holding my tongue trying to figure out other ways to say stuff. You know what I'm
Right. And look, it was a joke though. I don't want y'all to think
saying?
that I'm a one quitter. Even though it ain't got nothing to do with this. And I don't need no blue chew. I don't need none of that stuff. I was only
Ah,
referring I was only referring to when it comes to the conversations and giving y'all the best quality out of me because I generally believe you need genuine interactions. And with me, I would like to hear it first, give my honest interactions then, instead of hearing it and then talking about it later. So that's what we're referring to because we were talking about something. And that's the thing with us. Every time I say we talk, we need to hit the record button because we
right.
go on the spiel and we talk about all these subjects. And then we're like, man, that could have been a podcast. And then we go to the
Exactly.
podcast. Now I'm all stiff and all that
Right,
stuff. So
right.
yeah,
But
yeah.
look,
So
we trying to figure out, like I was saying before, we trying to create this foundation for it. We can bring y'all the content as organic as possible. And look, if y'all guys want to hear, you know, work conversations, I can make a podcast about work conversations. And while we at work, because me and Jules talking all the time, we having conversations, and there be some gems in there, man. But you know, I could just hit record, and then I could throw that on Spotify. And if y'all want to hear that, y'all can listen to that. Right now, we trying to, get some content so y'all can see our face, so y'all can know who y'all talking to.
yeah, because you got to
And
get that book out that was talking about the comic book we was talking about what they're dealing with the work.
oh yeah,
What was it
yeah,
called again?
warehouse. I was gonna
Uh,
call it warehouse workers,
Warehouse
but
workers. Yeah.
but yeah, yeah, the warehouse workers, man. It's just like we was talking earlier. We was talking about how it'd be funny if everything had that domain expansion type thing, going on.
Oh
And
man,
it was
don't
like,
do it. Oh, All right, we gotta give them context. Well, we now because then we over here talk about oh man, we gonna get canceled.
no,
We gonna
no,
get-
we look. It's
What
it's
we do?
basically it's basically accountability, man. It's not
Right.
even look, we ain't here to talk about all this type of relationship, this and that, woman, man stuff. We just talking about accountability. So that could go for any gender, male, female. You know what I'm saying? So
But
if
let's
we
be
had
fair.
the man, look, if the shoe fits, bro.
And
I'm
what we
just
were
saying,
talking
if the
about,
shoe fits,
all
if
right,
you wearing a size 12 and the shoe fits, bro, that's all I'm saying.
yeah,
But
right.
what I'm saying is, if that people had the domain expansion, but its accountability would be crazy. You know what I'm saying?
We were
And then
saying that
play that
we
music.
first started off saying that we should make that a villain's ultimate weakness is
Ultimate weak, like
a
like a
female,
power.
yeah, a female like a kryptonite from Superman. So the female
Right.
ultimate, like overpowered female who gave nothing, nothing can hurt her, but accountability did. So somebody do the domain expansion, like you said, like somebody they do the
Right.
whole backspill when they talk about with the music.
Right.
He's like, this
With
user
the
been
music,
using it.
yeah, yeah. He was like,
This user, go
this
ahead, go
user,
ahead.
he was like, yes. He was like, this user uses his curse technique, accountability. And the
This user
accountability
been
was like,
what we're saying is the domain expansion, the whole room just comes in, right?
this
And the user sit behind the desk with the mic, and they got
is a
the person,
podcast.
the other person is on the podcast room, and the other person uses red pill or something like that.
Right. Right. He was like, yeah, he uses his curse technique, red pill. This drains all the energy from the opponent
Right, making them freaking
and
have
leaves them
to.
with negative reaction. Yeah, right.
But no, not to say that sex is not, y'all. We were just making fun of. We was making fun of the
Right.
genre with the podcast and then all that stuff. How that'll be a
Right.
funny
I
technique.
mean, look, everybody takes accountability for their own actions. Just going back to the art stuff, doing this to this. Look, I took accountability at the beginning of this podcast. We ain't been taking and making content. We ain't been doing what we need to be doing because we got other stuff going on. So I apologize for it. And we just gonna try to make up for it. You get what I'm saying? So as an artist, as a creator, you take accountability for what you have, your part in what you added to what you haven't done or what you have done. And it's just making fun of that, you know what I'm saying? We just making fun of that. It ain't nothing, like I said, if the shoe fits, wear it. Y'all take it the way y'all want to take it. I'm just taking it as accountability in general.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that you need to have, I think, personally, to grow. You need that to grow.
Yeah. Everybody need to look within themselves to see where they are lacking and take that responsibility, but not to only
Exactly.
see it and use it as an excuse, to say, well, God knows my heart or something like that. No, really look inside yourself saying, this is where I need to do better at and actually do the steps to do better. Some people
Most
use that
definitely.
opportunity to look at themselves and they're like, well, this person didn't do it until this. And, it's just
Okay.
ways to make yourself feel better. The fact that you ain't doing it, but you can't compare yourself to everybody else. So yeah, everybody has a
Excuses
camera.
is
Everybody got a
excuses,
life
man.
going on. Yeah, excuses like
Excuses.
assholes. Everybody got one. So
I got one right. Excuses is excuses, man. So if you're gonna either keep making them or you either gonna try to find a way to get rid of them. It either is what it is. So
now,
I mean,
oh, go ahead. Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was about to say I
No,
want
go
to
ahead.
start off with the conversation that we was having before when we was talking about with Destiny. So you was telling me
Destiny
how
earlier.
yeah, earlier it was like a couple days ago we was talking about it and you was talking about how
Yeah.
Destiny or Bungie rather is closing its studios. Now, was you saying that they was closing the studios for Destiny and Marathon, or was you just saying they was closing just Destiny servers? Like, was it
So
servers or?
no, they wasn't closing the servers. They fired half of the staff. So
Mm,
50% of Destiny's team, Destiny 2 team, has been let go. And
oh man.
the head of Destiny that they just appointed like 7 to 8 months ago stepped down as well. So they have a new head. Um, and they working with a really small, minimal crew. But Marathon is still has its 400 people working on it. So I mean, just to clarify, that's the information I got from what I've been seeing is that, yeah, Destiny 2 has basically, they trying to cut back on Destiny 2. They're not going to release any more drops or expansions. They got a smaller crew now. And like I said, like 50% of the staff has been let go. So, I mean, they say it was a retaliation thing from PlayStation. And I mean, look, I don't put it past them because it's just been super greedy lately. Greed once again is the
Mhm.
culprit. But
We talked about
yeah,
Nintendo, same scenario.
same thing. Yeah. So Nintendo basically they was coming up with they sued America or took the the tariffs situation into play, sued them, won that, and they also sued for defamation, if you want to call it, or um, what is it, pain and suffering. But we don't get the money back. So they, yeah, basically it's pain and suffering because, like, if you injure yourself on a job or something like that, and then
Right.
some places they pay for pain and suffering, like because you had to go through this whole ordeal, but some places don't. And they basically are getting their money back for the tariffs that they increased their prices. So they increased their prices of the Nintendo Switch 2 and the games because of the tariffs. And then they sued them because they had to increase the prices. And then they sued them for having to make their customers go through that and got that money back too. But we don't get the money back. They don't lower the price of the games or the system. They just saying, hey, we got our money back.
So let me get this straight. Nintendo was so traumatized by the simple fact that they made profited years through this whole time that they sued and won, and
Mm-hmm.
they decided to sue on our behalf.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I was saying before, they decided to sue on our behalf, and like they gonna give us back the money that we had to front for paying for the tariffs. Because the tariffs, they didn't pay for the tariffs. The tariffs was the tax that went to the consumer. Nintendo didn't front that cost. But they were so
Yeah.
traumatized that they had to charge us extra that instead of us giving us back the money, they just gonna be
Yeah.
like, "We won, y'all. Congrats." Remember I told you, I'm like, they're
Congrats.
gonna be like, "We won, y'all." No, starting in the month of July, all
50%
Nintendo
off.
Wii products is 50% off on the store. Oh,
Nintendo Wii.
yeah, Nintendo Wii.
With
To
Nintendo Wii.
celebrate this Mamata event that we won this victory, because we did it for us. We
Right.
won. We gonna make the Nintendo store half off for all Nintendo Wii products
Right.
starting
Right.
July the 1st, excluding Zelda and Metroid and all kinds of Wii games. They just gonna make it like
Right.
Nintendo Fit. Yeah, that's greed. That's greed. How you gonna sue on the behalf of the consumer
Most
but don't
definitely.
give the consumer no money for pain and suffering? But we
For
had to
pain and
pay
suffering.
for it. We had to pay for it, and they
Okay.
actually won. I don't know if that says more about Nintendo or if it says more about
Mm-hmm.
our own government.
Right.
Because how you win
No,
that?
I mean, look, it's all a scam, man. I tell
Oh
people
my
this all
God.
the time, man. It's all a scam. Everybody is scamming you, so scam them until you can't scam them. Basically,
Yeah,
everybody's scamming you.
yeah.
And then look, take it
Everybody.
take it the way you want to. Everybody is too. It's harder to run into a genuine person that's doing it for nothing than to run into a person who's just gonna do it just to benefit off of it. You get what I'm saying?
But you want to make it as a corporation, for what I've learned. You don't want to do it as an individual scam. Because if you do it as a corporation, you just get
Mm-hmm.
hit with a fine. But if you do it as
Right.
an
You told me about
individual,
that the other day.
yeah, DJ ASAP and his wife,
Yeah.
40
Right.
years each for scamming people during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I think they scammed like over 10,000 people, 40
Right.
years each. But Google, Facebook, you name it. Capital One, because Capital One just did a
Mm-hmm.
lawsuit, just had to pay.
Yeah.
All these major corporations taking our information, doing stuff breaking, which is against the law, and selling it, and the SEC fines them millions of dollars, but they made billions. But yet, if you
Right.
do it as an individual, you're going to jail. But these corporations, they made
Do
it.
it
I
all the
mean,
time.
what's I make $2 billion off of you. What's 400 million? I done made 2 billion. Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
Slap on the wrist. I won't do it again. Please.
Right.
Greed, man. Greed. 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 Greed.
So I
Gosh,
mean, look,
we.
man, just to get back into get it back into an organic type of situation, right? Um, I got some questions, and then you could just answer them, and then you see how it go. You get what I'm saying?
All right.
So, all right. So this is just a hypothetical random question, which they say is a study behind it, but I don't know. I just thought it'd be an interesting question. So the question is, if you're looking for the truth, who should you go to? Now is a list: the mathematician, the scientist, the historian, the philosopher, or the preacher.
Repeat that one more time for me.
If you looking for the truth, who should you go to? The mathematician, the scientist, the historian, the philosopher or the preacher.
If you're looking for the truth,
Mm-hmm.
definitely ain't the preacher.
So we taking the preacher off, right?
Then you said mathematician,
Mathematician. Yeah.
historian.
Historian, the scientist, and the philosopher.
Hmm. Okay. I want to say the historian because that's like their literal job is to keep up with facts, right? Mathematician, I feel like that's a trick question because I don't understand why. I feel like the mathematician deserves to be there, but I don't know why yet, right? Because
Right.
you're dealing with numbers, you're dealing with stuff that has to make sense usually when you're dealing with math, right? Because when you go into, but that's like judging distance and stuff of that nature or time. I'm gonna say the mathematician go. All right. So you
Okay.
got the
You gonna take away the
historian.
mathematician. Okay.
I'm gonna take away
The,
mathematician.
the
So
historian and the
historian
scientist
and a scientist
and the philosopher.
and philosopher. Philosophy. Philosophies tend to be used that's been brought down from generations, right? So it's always like a lesson learned from different things that happen in historical times when you go to a philosophy. But like
Well, I
again,
mean, I would say a philosopher also looks outside of what is the norm of what people might believe, right?
I mean, now we got to get into the definition of philosophy to think about it. I don't know. I think about philosophy, I think almost close to historical facts. But it's like,
That's a
in a
historian.
way, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I'd say that would be a historian, but a philosophy is like almost like a lesson learned or a value lesson or something. Maybe I could be wrong in that definition when I'm thinking. I mean, maybe I'm overthinking it. I want to say
Right.
historian.
Look,
I
I'll
want to
look it
say
up, man.
historian. But
See,
I feel like this is a trick question because historian is in there, but I feel like
I
it's
would
in there
say
for a
there is
reason.
no wrong. I would say it depends on how you are. It ain't no wrong answer.
I mean, I'm not trying to go against religion, but when it comes to the pastor or the priest, those contexts has been written and changed in so many ways to benefit man. And then it also depends on what religion you're looking at. So it's hard for me
So
to say on.
so let me say that I looked up the definition of philosophy. It says the systematic, rational, and critical study of fundamental questions about existence, knowledge, values, reason, mind, and language.
And that's philosophy.
Yes. The systematic, rational, and critical study of foundational questions and existence, knowledge, values, reason, mind, and language. So using ration to
Rationality.
analyze, yeah. You're using the systematic rational and critical study of fundamental questions about existence. So if you break that down, the critical study, you're studying why questions come about existence or what these questions are about existence. So you're kind of thinking outside of why this exists. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, yes, because you're questioning everything, but if you're questioning everything, but who's there to answer? So it's like a
But
bunch
you're
of
using you're using ration as well. You're using rational thinking. So you rationally thinking on why these exist in a medium like questions about existence. Like if you're going to use ration, then that means that you're going to use logic as well, right?
right.
And
So would you say that when the apple fell, right? And it fell on the what you call. I'm trying to figure out what you call him,
Sir
historian.
Isaac Newton. It's Sir
Sir,
Isaac
yes,
Newton.
Sir Isaac
Yeah.
Newton. I'm trying to figure out, would you call that a historian or a philosopher? Like when Apple fell, and when he came up to the concept of gravity, you know, of
Yes.
course it will be like rational thinking, as far as how it goes first. Rational thinking with the laws of physics, how they created.
Well,
Would that be considered starting off as a philosophy, or would that
well,
sort of
see,
went to historical facts? You know what
well,
I'm
see,
saying? Like,
this the thing. Let me answer. Philosophy and science go hand in hand.
right,
Except science can has a theory that is rational. Like if you think Einstein, he has a theory of relativity or something like that. You get what I'm saying? He uses these rational thinking and philosophy to come up with a scientific theory. You get what I'm saying? Now, if you're a scientist, you can also base it off of evidence that you see and feel and may rationalize on how things work. Because, of course, we can't see gravity. But if you start to philosophize about, I don't even know if that's a word, but all words are made up. You get what I'm saying? Philosophize. All words are made up. So if you start to use philosophy to figure out why things work the way they work, you're also going to come up with science of how things work, even though that theory of science might not be accurate. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes they say, oh, well, the world is flat. That's, scientists say that the world is flat or something like that. Or science says that your body does this and that and the third. But it's an individual thing. So then it means that, yes, this does exist. This does happen. But at the same time, it could be different for you, if that make any sense.
right. So I'm trying to figure out what the order would be, right? Because you know how like they say what comes first, a chicken or an egg or something, but we all can look and see how to order things happen. So in this instance, will the philosophy turn to a scientific fact, which later goes into historical fact? You know what I'm
Well,
saying? So it's like,
it'll turn into scientific fact after the philosophy because you did experiments to find out the basic nature of this thing. You get what
right.
I'm
So it's
saying?
kind
So
of like,
after scientific research.
so when it goes back to your question, it kind of goes to like, which stage would this be in? Would it be in the beginning stage, the middle, or the end stage of it
What, the truth? The
for the
truth?
truth? I guess for
No,
the
if you're
having
looking
the
for the
truth.
truth. Yeah, you're looking for the
If
truth.
you're looking for the truth, right? So if you're looking for the truth, gosh, like that's what I'm saying, right? Because it's like, what stage are you thinking about? 'Cause when you're looking for the truth, you start the beginning stage, but you have to look at the past to see how things will go into the future to make a prediction, right? So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
which stage would you do when you're looking for the truth? If you look at historical facts, that's kind of tell you something that's already been going on and how it tends to happen, but it doesn't necessarily mean always. Science can dictate how it can be going towards, but if you use philosophy, you can pretty much use rationality to assume how this current state, because what happened in the 70s is not good for what's going on now. So it's like you
Right.
gotta, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Like I said, there's no wrong answer. It's like you get to a certain point because it's all stages, if you want to call it that. Basically, there's all these states because look, we still got the historian and we have the the mathematician. The mathematician is going to go. To me, I would pick mathematician because math is hard, but it also is literal. Like, right? So you can't figure out all the truth from mathematics, but you could come up with a pattern with mathematics, if that's what you know what I'm saying. So a pattern would then go from mathematics to philosophy of, well, if this is a pattern, then this is the rational reason on why it's happening, right? Then you would go to the scientists that do experiments on it, see if it actually keeps happening that way, right? And then you will go to the historian, because now it's been documented and this has been tested to be like, well, they did test that 50% of people did this, 80% of people did this because of the patterns that we found out through mathematics and the philosophy of rationality showing what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Then you start to create a belief in that, which turns to the preacher. Because then the preacher says, this is how we have all understood things to be. You know what I'm saying? Because of our research and because of our philosophy, or you could just go against it and believe whatever you want to believe, right? Your truth is your truth, I guess, because I hate when people say, this is my truth. Your truth is your truth. You believe what you want to believe. But at the end of the day, if you're looking for the truth, where would you go? You know what
Well,
I'm
that's
saying?
what I was about to say, because religion is definitely not it, because religion is sort of like blind faith, right? Or you just, it's not going to say the assumption, and I'm not trying to go against anybody's religious beliefs, but a lot of things in religion haven't been proven to exist. We have a context, and it depends on what religion you're talking about. So let's just refer to Christianity. So there's a lot of things in the Bible that are to be assumptions that happen. Now, people who reads the Bible, who's Christians, would say that it did happen, but there's not really scientific facts to say that this did happen. And then
Right.
when you
Mm-hmm.
try to go against it and say that, well, where's the science in it? They say, well, you got to have faith, right? You got to believe, right? Like I think they
Mm-hmm.
was talking about an incident in the Bible where they were saying that I can't remember the exact um chapter and stuff it was, but I do know it was like the one where I think they was walking away from Sodom, and he told them not to look back at the city as it had been destroyed, and
Turn
somebody
to a
turned back
pillar of
around,
salt,
looked, and turned
like
to
a
a pillar of
pillar of
salt.
salt.
Well, they're saying now, which I don't know how true it is, but it was saying that there was a pillar of salt that seems to have a resemblance to a human or human DNA found out there in Egypt. How true it is, I don't know. But when you see historical events like that happen, you was like, well, where's the science behind it? You know what I'm saying? Like, is the pill? How do we know if that literally happened in the Bible? You know what I'm saying? So it's like science. They don't even believe in dinosaurs. You know,
Yeah,
so it's
some people
like,
don't believe in dinosaurs. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like it's hard to say as far as that, because it's like, again, when it comes to religion, it's like now that's you're saying this is my truth, because it's like I'm standing in my faith. This is my truth. You believe what you want to believe. There's nothing that's going to push me from it. Science is based off of mainly fact, what we can feel, touch, what we can put together and say, this is here. You know, if you want to be shown something, I can show it to you. You ask a religion, hey, prove to me that this person exists. Tell him to come down here right now. Can't happen. But science, to kind of go through the stuff, like they use math, which is I feel like it's another category of science, to come up with these analyses and to come up with these probabilities of what happened. You know, so they're like, and they use what's actually historical data to prove their their analysis or their theory. Like, say for instance, we all get old. So through time, everybody's been getting old and old and old. You know what I'm saying? But they're like, hey, but we
Mm.
know African Americans are more prone to have high blood pressure. Well, through all the science and through all the times of history and all that stuff, no, they know that African Americans tend to have more high blood pressure, or this, that, and the third. So they have facts to back that up. You know, through the numbers, through the things, stuff like that. So it's like That's why I feel like numbers. I feel like the mathematician is like a category of science because
Well, see, the
science use
thing
more
is,
than math.
when you break down math, to me, when I break it down, is an actual logic based thing, right? So you break down math. If you got one thing and you got another thing, this is the language that we're calling one thing and another thing. You got two things, right? So this is the physical thing that you have. So that's mathematics, is the language to actually denote what is physical and what is not physical by numbers. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
So
get what you're
the
saying because
math,
when you use
so
math,
the
it's like you can't really
mathematics,
make it up,
yeah,
pretty
you
much.
can't. So if you hypothetically come up with a number one, or whatever language you use it, that is mathematics. So if you write a strike, or you put a number one, or you put a zero, or whatever you put, is the language. That's called mathematics. But it actually represents something physical where your mind will be able to break it down into, this is how this mass or thing works, right? Distance, space. This is how mathematics, you use mathematics to measure these things, measure time, measure distance, measure space, measure objects. That's what mathematics is used for. So when you apply mathematics to these things, that's when more logic comes into play, because the logic is going to be there when you have a actual, I guess, placer for, or a language for what this is. So let's say, for example, if you're going to say 10,000 people have high blood pressure and they happen to be black, then you're going to be like, well, it seems to be, if you do a study for 10,000 people, which the 10,000 is the mathematics, the language, 10,000 black people, 10,000 white people, and then you check the 10,000 black people, they all have high blood pressure. You're going to be like, okay, it's higher in black people than it is in white people, right? Because
Yeah,
now
that's the
you use,
numbers. Yeah.
that's numbers. You use mathematics to have a basis of how you come up with this philosophy, right?
Well, you see that because you have to go beyond that, right? You say, okay, the numbers is here, but you're going to go beyond that to figure out why. So you got to go to the biology of it. You have
That's
to
when you
figure
go
out.
to the philosophy. Philosophy. You don't go to biology. You go to philosophy because you have to come up with a theory and rationality on why. Then you come up with the science. The science is the experiment and the research behind it,
So
right?
you're saying that the numbers is first when you're searching for the
Yeah.
truth, because that's the very first thing that's going to bring about the question into why something is.
Yes.
I mean, that's a fair point. I still feel like it'd be philosophy. I still feel like it'd be philosophy, but that's a
Well,
fair
see, that's
point.
the
That's a fair
saying.
argument.
Like, if the numbers don't make any sense, then you're gonna have more philosophy. You get what I'm saying? If the numbers don't make
Right.
sense, if you say you only got one person that's black, and then you do a test on one person that's black with high blood pressure, and then you did 10,000 on another person, I mean on white people or different races, and then you be like, well, in black, they got higher blood pressure, but you only did one test though. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The
You
numbers
do
don't
multiple
equal.
tests.
The numbers don't work. The mathematic ain't mathing, right? So then you like, hold up, let's
You
come up
can't
with a
build a
different.
history or historical fact off of one trial. You have to have
Exactly.
multiple instances. It has to add up to where it can get to the point where you
Yes.
see as a pattern. What is it?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Enough dots creates a line.
Exactly. So then when you come up with a philosophy like, hold up, you're just saying this and you only did one test on one black person, right?
Right. So
So
what's
it's
what's
like
your proof?
that
Right.
that doesn't even work. Like, your philosophy has fallen all apart because, and your science, because you haven't even did any research except on one person, right? So it's like
All right, yeah,
all
yeah.
of that doesn't work
All right,
because
fair
of your
enough.
math.
Fair enough. You've been watching some Doctor Stone. That's what it is. That's why
What?
you came up with this question. You've been
Nah, I
watching some
mean,
Doctor Stone. Cause
no.
fair
See,
enough. Fair enough.
Look, Doctor Stone is interesting to me because I'm a philosopher, or I wouldn't say philosopher. I'm more of a, how do you put it?
Mathematician, just like you
Intellectual.
said.
I'm I'm a I'm an intellectual, and I'm thinking on a different level of how things work, right? So,
Right, right.
um, Dr. Stone is interesting to me, but it's not interesting to you. You know what I'm saying? Because you told me it's just not interesting to you. But I'm interested in how the world, if the world got turned into stone, and how we gonna get back to the way we was. How is that possible? And it's through math. It's
I
through
say
math.
Doctor Stone is an interesting anime, but the how it was losing interest to me. Don't get me wrong. You know that show How It's Made? That used to be
Yes. Mhm.
on cable. So I was highly interested in that show. Like how did they make that, right?
You're right.
I feel like with Doctor Stone though, I feel like it's a how it's made anime because it's like the following day is showing you how something is created that's going to be used in that time of scenario to benefit them. But it's pretty much going down the list of how it's made. And like they made penicillin. They was talking about how they made the lights. They were talking, you know what I'm saying? So it's like it got to the point where I was like, okay, I know there's a villain who's trying to keep things prehistoric, and I know Dr. Stone is trying to reinvent the world with science. But it felt like every episode is like, I'm going to show you how to make this today. You know what I'm saying? So then I was like, uh I wanted to get to the
See, the
story of
thing
the
is,
showdown between science and the new and the old. I wanted to see what that would look like. How to
well,
the
see this.
primitive ways of thinking was either that the best before we start thinking of ways of ingenuity and stuff like that, or was science the best way? Of course, science probably still the best way because primitive way they died faster, they didn't live longer, and all that stuff. But I wanted to see that type of conflict, not oh she's
Well,
sick, she
see,
needs penicillin.
you're not following. You're not interested in the journey. You know what I'm saying? The
Maybe
journey. All these steps have to happen, and they show this plenty of times in Dr. Stone. Is that we have a list of things we need to do before we can even do this. You know what I'm saying? So that the journey is the show, and that's interesting because it has a bit of history, and it also has a bit of intrigue on how things would. Now they're not going to sit there and waste a whole episode on showing you how the light bulb work, right? Like I'm further on in season 4, I think, and they're building a computer now, right? And it's like, yeah, it's taking like 8 episodes, but it's like you have to actually, like, this is how it happened back in the day to get to
right.
this point. You know what I'm saying? It's like we we had to figure out how to make a computer, and you got Dr. Stone as a catalyst showing like, look, man, we can make this in the prehistoric times. Like they got TV now, they got manufacturing things now. And they just like it's still at a point where it's the beginning stages. And so when you look at the history, it's like, damn, we came a long way. Like I watched a video on Facebook the other day about humans only been around for 300,000 years since the Earth, right? 300,000 years. Ain't shit compared to the Earth. The Earth is like 4 billion years old, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Just like you was just talking about that money. Oh, we made $3 billion, 200 million ain't, I mean, 100 million ain't nothing. It's nothing, right? So they talking about how do we get to where we at now, where you could just get on your phone and get somebody to come over here and pick you up to go somewhere. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. When you think about it now, if you was 300,000 years ago, people had to walk, bro. Walk everywhere. They walked
Yo,
everywhere.
this
The whole
remind me.
world.
This remind me of a skit of that comedian. I hate it every time I go to these podcasts. I can't think of the names, but the comedian I was watching, and he was talking about how back in the day, you know, when people had beef, you know,
Right.
it took
They
weeks to
had to
get it.
shoot. They shot him.
So,
Yo, they was
so,
tripping, bro.
but no,
Just
he was like somebody would show up like 2 months later, and he'd be like, "Who's talking shit?" Because
right.
he heard it, and then 2 months later he'd show up. He was like, "Who's talking shit?" Because it took so long to get to.
It took so long to get there, bro. We didn't even have a messaging system,
Right.
bro. It's like
Yeah.
it's crazy, bro. It's
But
like
think of
you.
but think about it though, right? Because it goes back to this Dr. Stone thing. Because all
Yeah.
right, innovation is amazing, right? And like I said before,
Mhm.
without the penicillin, a lot of people would have been dead, right? But when you think about it, science is great, but think it's so harmful too, because he invented television. So it's like, why Dr. Stone? I don't think he's gonna leave out innovation, but some things probably should have been left out. Because think about it, in that way, the prehistorical
You're
guy
the
kind of
villain.
wins.
You're the villain.
No,
You're the
think
villain.
about it. Think about it. All these iPad kids. Look how science is good, innovation is good, but there are things that's harmful to the human species. And
Look at it. Look, let me put it in a bubble for you, because I know where you're going with this, man. I know where you're
all right,
going with this, and that's why I say you're the villain, because your ideology. Yes, in the Dr. Stone show, you're the villain that wants to keep it in prehistoric times, because
no,
the kid.
no.
Listen, because the guy who was the villain was like, look, we don't need to bring back everybody. You know what I'm saying? Dr.
Right,
Stone don't care. He wants to bring everybody back just because it's science. You know what I'm saying?
right.
It is what it is. But you don't want to bring back everybody, because some people don't deserve to come back because of what you think. You know what I'm saying? And so if you take what things are created for here now, and you think about the beginning times of why they created it and where it got into, a lot of it is because of greed. A lot of it is because of innovation. All innovators and creators who create these things do not have control over what they create. They don't. That's why I say that all creators or all people, their purpose is to create. Everybody's purpose is to create, because that's what we are doing. And we cannot control these things when things get created. You get
But
what I'm saying?
my thing is, should crack cocaine or heroin be recreated? Should the atom bomb be recreated?
You can't stop people from doing it, because that's
But
what people do. People make crack. People make stuff. They make stuff by accident. You think Viagra was made off a fucking accident, man? It was made from accident. So making things, because you're trying to innovate and trying to build things and make things, is going to happen with casualties.
some
You know what
things
I'm saying?
was created by accident, and some things were very intentional,
Yes.
very
Yes.
intentionally created.
The atom bomb was created intentionally as a destructive thing. You get what I'm saying?
So it's like, if you think about it, if you have the opportunity, right? Would you be like Dr. Stone and have no hands off or anything? Just say, you know what, everything that's within creation needs to be recreated. Or would you be like the villain, the prehistoric guy, and be like, we need to pick and choose and dictate what gets recreated? Now, on his end, I'm assuming he doesn't want a lot of
I
scientific stuff
mean,
being created.
do you want me to answer the question, or you want to
Well, I'm
answer it
asking.
yourself?
No, I'm asking. I'm asking
You
in
answered,
that.
but you ain't let me answer. Yeah.
No, because I wanted to explain
gotta
my
answer.
case. I wanted to explain my case.
I understand, but you gotta ask the question after you explain your case, because then I can answer the question then. You know what I'm
All right.
saying?
Maybe okay, yeah. All right. So I mean, I guess I was trying to give insight not only to you because you understand where it is, but we have to also assume that other people ain't getting where I'm going. You know what I'm saying? So I was trying to explain a little bit for the people too, so they can have an insight on my case. You know
Okay,
what I'm
well,
saying?
restructure it. Restructure it where you're giving the case, and then you ask me the question at the end so I can answer.
All right. Well, you understand what I'm saying anyway now, so you might well go ahead and answer. Go
What
ahead
do
and hear
you
your
mean?
answer. Because you know where I
Ask the
was
question
going.
again. Ask the question
Man.
again.
All right. So the question is, would you rather be in this new world of Dr. Stone? Would you rather be in a
Mm-hmm.
world where you're like someone who is such as Dr. Stone, who just wants everything in recreated? I don't think he has any. I'm not sure. Maybe he has some quarrels and stuff that don't need to be created. But if he's a scientist, who I think he is, would he have the good, bad, the ugly? Which he? Because I think did he create a gun? Didn't he create a gun already?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So would you want to be in a world with Dr. Stone where these things are all being created, right? Good, bad, ugly, don't matter. It's creation. Or would you be on his side, or would you rather see the side of the guy who says we need to dictate and watch what innovation is created for the benefit of humanity? Because, like you said, as far as numbers and numbers guy and mathematician and all that stuff, we've seen how the world reacted and came to be based off of everything that happened for what we created. So now we have the opportunity to either stop or slow it down or reinvent it. Would you want someone who say, you know what, it don't matter, let's make it back to where it was and bring it back to reality? Or would you say, no, let's halt or not bring these things to be? Not trying to say it's going to stop crime or stop things, but which one you think will be right in that perspective?
Okay, so to answer the question, it depends on my moral stance and that other person's moral stance. Everybody has a scale of morality. You know what I'm saying? So I'm pretty sure the first gun wasn't created to kill each other. It was for hunting. You know what I'm saying? In the show Dr. Stone, he is more of a innovator to create things that need to be created to insist in his goal in getting everybody unfrozen. But it doesn't really show that he's trying to change the mind of these people that he's actually curing, right? So, me personally, I would have some judgment when it comes to curing everything and all the knowledge I have, because you just can't have your knowledge running free, knowing the consequences of your knowledge. You get what I'm saying? If I create a gun, somebody gonna shoot themselves and kill themselves. But that's something where the creative morality comes into play. Because then, let's say I have the knowledge to create a gun. I do create a gun, but for me and not everybody else, that gives me more power, right? That gives me more moral what can you say, more like dominance over these other people because I have that knowledge and they don't, right?
And they're going to
So
go for it.
and look, and so I could do that, but I feel like when you create something, now that's why I go back to that philosophy, or like I said, philosopher, intellectual. If you think creators are made to create, if they create something, they have no control over it. You know what I'm saying? So the consequences are going to happen regardless. If I invent it, just like the atom bomb, if I invent it, I can either get behind it and can try to control it, or somebody else is going to do it, and it's going to be worse. It doesn't matter. It's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? It's going to happen. So me putting my knowledge to the best of my moral ability would be my goal. It wouldn't be to know everything, because I'm not going to know everything that I create is going to have a positive outcome. You get what I'm saying?
But you already know based off of history that the guns are atom bomb. Atom bomb for general is going to be destructive. However, I understand your point too, because what you're saying is it's inedible, right? Eventually, given through time, someone is going to create this very same product, right?
Yes.
So
Mhm.
if you don't have this product, how can you defend your country?
Yes.
Guns are not, I'm not saying guns are bad. I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe everybody has the right to bear arms. But I believe humans, because is the ones who's using the gun. So let's get that out the way. So, but knowing, given the fact that humans are flawed, right? And we created this weapon that does mass casualty and then holds like it can protect people, but it can also bring up mass casualties and it can be recklessness. So it's like if you're someone with that knowledge, what duty is it for you to not? Because he recreated a gun. I haven't seen the anime, but he recreated a gun. What is the duty of the people in his camp to use it responsibly? And if in that scenario, if you was in a scenario where you created a gun, we talked about this before. People is going to come together because they see that you have it, and the numbers is going to come together, and they're going to overturn what you got because they're
Look,
going to be like,
look,
you're
Ju-
the one of the.
so Jua, when you look, we gotta structure this. When you ask a question,
I get it. I get it.
either to answer you, I can answer you, or you can continue to talk about it. But don't ask the question in the middle of you continuing to talk about it, because then I ain't gonna be able to remember what you asked me. You know
Right,
what I'm
because I'm
saying?
going
You
further
probably won't
off.
even remember. Yeah. So put it like this: you asked the question about the gun, right? So
Right.
in the show, he created a gun because somebody else created a gun. He runs
Somebody
into
created before.
another he runs into basically an evil Dr. Stone who actually is a scientist who wants to rule the world. You get what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
he has created more things that's destructive, and he has his lackey or his person. The scientists don't have any like actual violent tendencies or anything like that, but he has the knowledge to make the guns. The person that is guarding this doctor, let's just call him Dr. X, he is a very well trained assassin. You know what I'm saying? So he they have airplanes, they have guns, they have a military, they have all this stuff. Dr. Stone runs into these people. And his crew are people who are descendants that grew up off of like prehistoric stuff. So he has to figure out a way to defend his people from these people. The science is going to happen regardless. That's what I'm saying. Or the creation is going to happen regardless. It just doesn't matter. Like the thing is, you're saying, since I have this moral knowledge or this knowledge to not create this gun for these set of people, I'm not, the thing is that I'm not a god. I'm not a god. You know what I'm saying? Even though these people don't know nothing about guns, nothing about the technology that I know, and know how to create, I'm not a god. You know what I'm saying? I can't foresee all things. So I only can create and look at the consequences. We only beyond what we can do, right? So we can't go beyond what we can do. What we can achieve is boundless, but we don't have control over anything. So if you make your purpose to create things and your actions show that, then you're going to eventually get to a point where none of this is foreseen. You know what I'm saying? If I'm going to create bowls or I'm going to create penicillin. I don't know if somebody's going to take my penicillin invention and create their own anti-penicillin, or take a gene out of that penicillin and make it a virus or something. I don't know what they're going to do, but it's going to happen only because I created penicillin. You know what I'm saying? It's no way to control none of this stuff. So since I'm not a god, I'm just a human. I'm going to create what needs to be necessary for my people in my group. You get what I'm saying? Now, in Dr. Stone, he's pushing science. So his people are scientists, and it's I guess enlightening to see the people that he's showing science and what they're doing with it. You know what I'm saying? Because they supposedly are good guys, if you want to call it that, because Dr. Stone is the main character. So they're learning just like he has learned, and these people don't know anything, but they're understanding that the science, the morals that Dr. Stone has for science is good for them, right? And the person shows what inventions that they make. So if you're going to make an invention for destruction, Dr. Stone could invent an atom bomb if he wanted to, right? But he's not doing it to destroy nothing. He didn't have to come to the point of, look, I got weapons of mass destruction, and now he's showing his people that are being influenced by the science that he's making that I can create a bomb and I'm going to instill fear into this next country, right? He's showing that my science is to help people. My science is to have better food and to have technology that we can move around and do things way easier than we had before. That's his moral compass, right?
Right. I mean, yeah.
I mean, if that answers your question.
So it's kind of like the evil scientist. Instead of him deciding to jump off the boat, he decides.
Well, I mean, hey, look, man, you know.
Because, I mean, to think about it, the assassin couldn't have the stuff if the scientist didn't make it. I mean.
Exactly. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So he would just be, everybody has a purpose. That guy is made to create destruction, and he's very talented at shooting or whatever. But if that stuff didn't exist, he wouldn't have his purpose, right?
Yeah. I mean, he'll probably find a way to still accomplish his purpose, but he's used to modern technology. But like I said, there could be a scientist who grow up who wants to make it.
Well, see, the way anime is structured is that these characteristics in these characters are super characterized. So if a person can lift something, then they can super lift stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, these personalities are the character. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's exaggerated. Yeah.
Right.
Kind of like what Sonic something from One Punch Man.
Oh, Sonic.
What's his name?
I think it's Sonic, ain't it? Or Sonic Sano or something?
No, I think it's Sonic.
Yeah.
Is that a play off of Mario from Nintendo?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's Mario's name, Mario.
Well, honestly, Mario's first name is Itsumi.
Really? Itsumi? Yeah. Itsumi Mario.
Yes. Yeah, it really is.
Itsumi Mario. Itsumi.
Yes. Yeah, that's how it is in Japan. They say his real first name is Itsumi.
He's not saying it as an Italian. Itsumi Mario. He said, Itsumi Mario. Whatever. Oh, whatever.
No, I'm serious. No, that's what I've learned. Yes.
I think that's a theory.
That's it might be a philosophy.
A game theory.
A game theory. Yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy.
So I mean, look, I feel like we definitely got back into the swing of things. So let's round back to the other stuff we was talking about when it comes to adaptations, right? So We was talking about the new, what is it? The new Avatar show. Which,
Yeah,
look, I haven't seen it all the way yet. I haven't seen it at all. But I heard they've been massacring it. They ain't did it right. This and that and the third. But we was also talking about Witcher and these adaptations of
yeah,
things, right? We was talking about The
yeah.
Witcher. We was talking
The way
about what was that game you was talking about?
Borderlands.
Uh Borderlands, right? Do you agree that adaptations are do you think adaptations need to be one for one of what they created, or do you think they need to be something new?
I think adaptations need to be one for one. If they're going to create something new, it need to be an addition to the understanding that what was in the original source material that will be like could have been better explained. But I think it should be one for one in most extreme cases. Like almost I say 95% one to one. In the last Airbender movie, the firebenders should have been able to firebend and not manipulate fire. Aang name should have been Aang and not Ong. So it's like in the Borderlands movie, Kevin Hart shouldn't have been Roland. Roland is not chronically that short in the Borderlands games. Kate Blanchett shouldn't have been Lilith in the game. She's not. And now, if they wanted to say that that was a Borderlands game that was based in certain years or whatever, fine. But of course, it wasn't. But I feel like certain those things matter. Now, those are just real life characters, but in it, I mean, real life actors playing these characters. But I feel like if you're going to portray these characters from this game, in these games, it says Lilith. I think they said she's 20 something chronically in the game. So if she's 20 something in the game, and you're going to have Kate
Mm-hmm.
Blanchett play, I think they said in the game, if I'm not mistaken, Roland is like 6'3" or something, and you're gonna pick Kevin Hart. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's weird, right? So I feel like uh, that if those are like to me like the minimal things you can ask for. Again, when it comes to Witcher with the Netflix show, they was adding in a lot of things that wasn't chronically in the books, or if they want to go off the video game, wasn't even a video game. They was creating a bunch of these stories that was new to the Witcher audience and new to everybody else, but your fan base is the ones I feel like, as someone that you're doing a adaptation of, is the ones you should be trying to get. But however, your fans may be very limited. Where if you get a vast majority of people, you can get bigger numbers. That's what I was saying before. I feel like when these people creating these adaptations, they're not focusing on the fans. They're focusing on what can give them the biggest ticket sales. They're not caring about what this movie is going to make people go back out and buy the books. They're caring about box office and ticket sales. Like we said before, people who watched the last Airbender movie probably liked it, but they didn't watch the Airbender series. So they was like, man, this is a really good movie. Same thing for you for Borderlands. You said Borderlands to you was a good movie. But me being a Borderlands fan, I'm like, what the H? You know what I'm saying? Like, this movie is way off in so many categories in based
Well,
off the adaptation that it has. And it
well,
doesn't
see,
need to be,
like,
it doesn't have to
well, see,
be interpreted because it's visual media. It's not a
so,
book.
so the, so the thing is that the people have already attached themselves. We was talking about this earlier. People have attached themselves to the first um way they consume the product, right? So if you play the game first, then you're gonna be more of and you like the game, then uh you're gonna be more biased when it comes to different adaptations of it. But when people watch the show first or the movie, they're gonna be like, well, it wasn't that bad. And I don't know nothing about the game, but then when they see the game, they have their chance to like this more than the other, right? And I feel like that bias is where the adaptations live because in the adaptations, the adaptations aren't made to be one for one. They're made to be to draw in a different audience. Now, it's great when you can please both audiences. You know what I'm saying? Look at Marvel and DC. They tried that. Marvel did it better than DC. You know what I'm saying? Well, we don't really care about how Superman did this and that. But when you put in a new movie, like the new Superman movie, people like that Superman movie, but then it's not based off of nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's not based off of any comic book. It's just a better adaptation of the previous Superman stuff. Now, some people like the Zack Snyder stuff, but then the people who like the comic books don't like Zack Snyder stuff because it's too dark and Superman doesn't kill and this and that. But some people like that Superman that Zack Snyder made. You get what I'm saying?
When it comes to that though, I feel like that's an unfair comparison because when the DC and Marvel, there's so many universes, right? They reinvented themselves so many times that when a fan who can be a fan of Superman or Batman or DC or Marvel, they can watch it because everybody know who Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman is, but I don't necessarily know which universe they created this movie. You know what I'm saying? Because they could
Mm-hmm.
be like, it could be some like this new Superman movie that came out. Honestly, I thought it was just based off one of the comic books that I don't really have read any Superman comic books, but I had an assumption that this Superman was from a variation of some Superman from some issue. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so many of them. So it's like it's hard for me to dictate if the Zack Snyder universe isn't a real deal based off any
Mm-hmm.
other comic book. You know what I'm saying? Whereas when you look at Avatar Last Airbender, there's only one variation of it. They have his
Well,
comic
it's
books,
multiple.
but
It's
it's only one.
multiple now.
Well, it's what to my far as multiple Aang variations, like from his journey, like they rewritten
No,
Aang's journey over again. You know what I'm saying? So
no.
it's
Then
like one journey of Aang.
since they made the movie, since they made the TV show, there's multiple iterations of Aang.
So there's multiple variations of Aang from where his journey of being trapped in the iceberg up to defeating the fire.
Yes. But when they make the
Well,
movie and they make the TV show, those are all universes, if you want to call it that. Those are basically the universe.
when it comes to BC, but those are adaptations of the very first media. The very
Yes,
first media didn't create different variations. So it's
I
like
know.
if you're going to base an adaptation off of something, it has to be an adaptation off of the medium. So if you're creating different Superman movies, again, I'm assuming that you're creating an adaptation based off a comic book, which is the first whatever comic book universe you're in. That's that Superman adaptation you're creating.
Well,
Same
see,
thing with
that's what I'm
Spider.
saying. Is a one for one. It's not one for one. It's never gonna be one for one. Once you create a live action, it's a total different thing. It's totally different. It don't matter if the story is created by the creator. It's something different. You know what I'm
So if
saying?
someone creates Fire Ruin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not trying to say if they create Fire Ruin, and
You
instead of
no,
name,
if I create Fire Ruin
yeah,
as
if you
a visual media,
let me turn the light off. It's bright. Go ahead. I was
if
trying to
I
get some light
create
because of the
Fire,
sun going down.
yeah. Well, look, if I create Fire Ruin as a live action, it's different than the actual story that I drew. You know what I'm saying?
No, like say for instance, you create Fire Ruin, and you're going to create it first as the medium, which is in a comic book, right? And let's
Mm-hmm.
just say you get an adaptation to become an anime, right, or a movie. If you create a Fire Ruin based off, and there's only one adaptation. There's not a different fire. Now it could be Scattered Embers. What's one that's different? I know I'm going off again, but I just want to make it clear. So it's Fire Ruin, your first variation. Then an anime is created, and they don't call the Cure Stone the Cure Stone. They call it the Kiki Stone, right? And the Kiki Stone, instead of fire or the Phyterians drawing power from the Kiki Stone, they absorb it and put it into a gun and they shoot. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So it's like, can you really call that fire rule?
Yes, because they put
I
fire
don't
run
see.
on there.
But no,
If
but
I,
it's not fire ruin though. It's not what you created.
it's not what I created.
Is it a true
Look,
adaptation?
it's not a true adaptation, but it is a version of fire room. You know what I'm saying?
But you didn't put none of that in your universe that you created. So how is
Exactly.
it a version?
Exactly. It's a version of it because once the creator creates it, it's no longer under the control. Back, look, we can circle back. You know what I'm saying? We can circle back. Once the creator creates, it's called death of the artist. You know what I'm saying? Once the creator creates it, it's done. The way you read it, the way that other person reads it, the way I read it, is never going to be the way that it was in my mind. It's never going to be that way. And once I put it on a piece of paper and I give it to people to look at and read, they're going to take whatever they took from whatever they took. It's not going to, I can't manipulate their mind to take it the way they want to take it. You get what I'm saying? Because if they read Fire On and it has nothing to do with what I said, like let's say they take the Cure Stone and use that energy, put it into a gun. When they read that, they were like, man, it would be better if this happened. You know what I'm saying? When they read my stuff, they was like, it would be better if you put it in a gun because that's the way we can make it as a live action or anime. We can physically see this. We can physically see a gun, but the way he wrote it, that we can't see that. You know what I'm saying? It's a stone. Don't nobody care about a stone. We want a gun. Right? That's what they thought in their head. So now they made it that way. They created a different adaptation of what I created. That's why I said you have no control over what you create. Once you create it, it's done.
So would you give that a green light for your IP for someone to say, I
If
have
I had
this
the
vision
choice,
for
no, if I had the choice, no, I wouldn't give it a green light. I would like, no, I would sit there and explain to them why it can't be a gun. You get what I'm saying? And I would sit there and tell them what I was thinking in that way. But then once I tell them that, it still doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. Because I can sit there and tell you everything I want to about it, and then you still won't take my input.
So just an adaptation and chronicle work, is that hand in hand? If it's a chronicle thing that happened in your story or not. So like say like the last Airbender, M. Shalon's last Airbender. Would you say that was chronically one for one with Avatar: The Last Airbender? Is that something that's chronically in line, or would you just say it's just an adaptation, but it has nothing to do with the last Avatar: Last Airbender?
It's a if I had to put a percentage on it, it's a 65% adaptation of what the original medium was, because the original medium is an anime or cartoon. It's a visual medium. So he did not do what the visual medium was. Like he didn't do it one for one. He could have just recreated everything. He could have did it down to the costumes, down to the names, the pronunciation of the names. He could have did shot for shot. Shot for shot. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a visual medium. But he said, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to fucking do that at all. I'm going to make it where it's in my limitations. If the Earthbenders got to do 50 million dances to make one rock move, that's what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
I see why they would put their name on it though, like M. Shyamalan or Zack Snyder's,
Yes.
because it's like they're trying to say this is their version
This
of
is
it.
not. Yes.
But I hate it
Yes.
because it's like you took someone else's mechanics and you twist it up to what you think is cool.
Well, see, that's not always a bad thing, because I've never read the Doom books, right? But I love Denis Villeneuve's Doom. I love it. I love it with a passion. Hey, I love these things. These things
For
are
now,
mine to love.
for but what if you read the book and then you like, well, the book? I wish they would have did it like the.
Well, see, that's the thing. That's why I was opening it up to you. If it has to be a one for one, then that means that leaves it up to the consumer now. It leaves it to the consumer. If you say, which we was talking about earlier, that I feel like an adaptation should add on to what the first original medium is, then it has its own legs and it has its own creation. It's created off of the one, not the same one. Because if it's an adaptation, then that means that you're taking the same story that you read or saw, and you're trying to make your own version of it, right? And like I said, even if the creator did it, it would still be different, right? Because now, when I was creating Fire, I didn't have this actor in mind at all. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have this actor. He just looks kind of like how I was thinking I wanted to draw Fire, right? You know what I'm saying?
But would you
So
have
now
Kevin Hart play Fire?
but that's what I'm saying. No, I wouldn't. But I wouldn't have him pay. But the studio, like you said, they need to make some money. So they be like, we got Kevin Hart, man. Kevin Hart is a great actor. He can do dramatic stuff. He can also do comedy stuff. And we need comedy in this stuff because the way you wrote this story doesn't have that much comedy. It's too dark, man. And I was like, okay, so then that means who am I? Who is my audience? Am I making it for new people or am I making it for the old people that read it? Well, the old people that read it, even though you got millions of buyers that bought your book, we don't want those million people. We want 2 million people who like movies. Right? So then I'm like, oh, what's I don't know what people like for movies. I only know what people like for my book. Not even books in general. I just know from what people like in my book. Well, I know what people like in movies. And so I'm gonna have to either trust this person to do that. Because let's say I try to create a movie, like let's say because right now I think Todd McFarlane is trying to remake the Spawn movie, right? He's making a Spawn movie, and he liked the original version with Michael Jai White as Spawn, but he's like, I have the rights now. I want to make it myself. So I bet you it's not going to be the same as the book. You know what I'm saying? I bet you it's not going to be the same as the book. I can put it on Kalshi right now. You know what I'm saying? when when Tommy Fowler makes this movie, it's not going to be a one for one from the old movie, and it's not going to be a one for one from his book because he is older now. When he was younger, when he first wrote that, he's older now, so he was like, I can make this better. I can do what I think is cool. He's not even a director. You know what I'm saying? He's not even a.
I
You get what I'm
mean, to be
saying?
fair, it was the times and stuff was different. But I still will assume that Spawn will have the chains come out of him and not find chains on the ground and manipulate.
I mean, those things are like I said, the adaptation, it could be a high percentage or it could be a low percentage. It depends on what these people want to sell, right? So if Tom McFarlane says, hey man, I think Spawn need to have red chains instead of black chains, you know what I'm saying? He gonna change it, right? And then he was like, man, the books didn't have him have red chains. They was regular chains. But then some people could be like, man, the red chains hard, man. The red chains kind of hard. So
But,
now he could sell a toy. He could sell a toy that got red chains. You know
but
what
see,
I'm
a
saying?
red chains to me will be more believable than making Spawn a Caucasian.
Well, see, that's the difference. That's the difference. Some people are trying, like you said, they trying to make the money. They trying to make the money to appease a certain audience. So if you got Kate Blanchett and you got Jack Black as Claptrap and you got, you know what I'm saying, coming actress that's been in other stuff that people like, and you got Kevin Hart, people are gonna go watch the movie. And then they're gonna be like, well, the story wasn't that crazy, but I like Kevin Hart. I don't know nothing about Borderlands. I don't know nothing about Borderlands.
Right. So you're
I don't
saying
know nothing.
that's what I said. So they want to get the ticket sales. They care more about a vast because they don't know Borderlands, but they know Kevin Hart. They know Kate Blanchett. So
Maybe
they
they tried. Maybe they tried to get Idris Elba, and they was like, Idris Elba was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't like it. I don't want to be in a video game movie. And then Kevin Hart was like, well, I don't have a problem with a video game movie because I was in Jumanji 1 and 2. I don't care.
I mean,
It was video games tied to that. Kate Blanchett had to pay for a boat or something. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I think I think that the guy I think his name is Raush Agul or Ra I can't think of his name right now, but
that sounds
the
like the
guy who
Batman
did
villain.
yeah
Raj Al Ghul.
Ra's al Ghul is the Batman villain, but his the guy who played Bishop, the guy who used to play in and what is it, the Addams Family as I can't remember not Morticia, but who is the husband of Morticia? Basically, he played Bison M. Bison in the Street Fighter movie because his nephews like Street Fighter. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, I just want to do it because my nephew, right? Now the people who was making the movie was like, man, who's gonna get to play M. Bison? They wasn't looking for somebody who looks like M. Bison. They had John Claude Van Damme tied to it. So they was like, look, man, we got to get another star. They got to get another star. And this guy says he wants to do it. People know this guy from Addams Family. He's a great actor.
You know what? That's where I knew him from. I was trying to figure out who he was.
Who
Adam's
was the guy
fam.
from Street Fighter?
M. Bison. Yeah, M. Bison. Yeah, cause I was like, who was he? I'm thinking it's Ernest from Ernest Go.
Ernest T. Bass? No,
Yeah, they're like Ernest go to jail, Ernest go fishing. Yeah, I was like, that's not him. Yeah, the dude from Addams Family. But but think about it though. Street Fighter was so bad though. It was a horrible movie.
But look, they wasn't thinking that when they made the movie. Just like I just watched the new. I just watched the new Mortal Kombat. You watched the new Mortal Kombat?
Not the second. Just the
so
first.
they got the guy from The Boys to play.
Yeah, to play Johnny Cage.
To play Johnny Cage. I'm like, man, he's way too old to play Johnny Cage. Way too old to play Johnny Cage. But I'm a big fan of the first movie. Now, I don't know how old that guy was. I ain't never seen that guy in my life. The guy who played Johnny Cage in the first movie. But the guy from The Boys, I'm like, man, he's too old to play Johnny Cage. And now I watch the movie, I'm like, I'm still thinking he's too old to play Johnny Cage, but he did a good job. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah, but how'd you feel? How'd you feel about Cole in Mortal Kombat 1? I mean, in the first Mortal Kombat.
Of course, I didn't like him because I'm a fan of the video game. I played the video game. You know what I'm saying? I played the video game and I was like, why don't you just... I like Hero. I think that's the guy who plays Scorpion. I like that guy.
Mm.
And I'm like, yo, they got him playing Scorpion.
Mm.
Is he the main character? You know what I'm saying? But then they're going to turn around and put Cole. And I'm like, who the fuck is it? I was like, you got plenty of characters that you could pick.
Right.
That actually are characters from the video game, right? Cole Young. I don't want to. Who is Cole Young? But guess what? Somebody was like, these people who did not play the video game, they know this guy Cole. I mean, look, they're gonna like this guy Cole. They're gonna, because he got cool powers. He got batons. He got this suit. It glows. It's gonna be cool to some of these new guys who don't know nothing about the video game. And matter of fact, we could put a new character in the game right now. We put a new character in the game. Cole Young. Descendant of Scorpion. I'm 41. I'm 40, 41 years old. I care less about Cole Young. I would have been okay with them putting Cole Young in a video game than
I
putting
mean,
him
at
in the
this
movie.
point, right?
You know what I'm saying? If they would have put him in a video game, I would have been like, okay, I like Cole because he got good fighting moves. And then they would have made a movie. I would have been like, oh snap, they got Cole in this jump.
Right. Yeah. 'Cause that's what it was. It was a nostalgia hit for everybody else. Oh, Cabal's in the movie. Oh, they got
Yeah.
Millennia. Millennia. Oh, they got the people from Mortal Kombat 4. I can't think of the chick. The chick with the bat wings. She's from the fourth Mortal Kombat movie, but I can't think of her name. Dabara or something. I can't think of her name.
Oh
And
yeah,
they got
yeah.
that and that
She's
other
like
dude
the
from Mortal Kombat.
Shiva, the female forearm chick, right?
Well, no, she ain't have four arms. She that's um
That's her name,
damn
Shiva, ain't
Shiva. I think so. No, this chick she had like bat wings. She was like a vampire because she got killed by Kung Lao in the movie. She's from Mortal Kombat.
Honestly, I wouldn't even know, bro. Cause
Yeah,
like, look, it's so many Mortal Kombat's. I wouldn't even know if
yeah.
Cole Young was even mentioned. I wouldn't even
No,
know. But I know when I'm watching a movie. I know when I'm watching a movie and I want to see the structure. If I'm like, yo, they remaking Mortal Kombat. It's been 10 years. I'm a fan of the first movie. They better have somebody playing Liu Kang. And then Liu Kang is not the main character. I'm pissed. You know what I'm saying? Because
yeah.
Liu Kang is not the main character.
Yeah. He definitely wasn't on this one.
So I'm like, oh, they're gonna put Cole Young. I was like, damn, well, they could have put like somebody else, like Johnny Cage or anybody else. Anybody. They had a crew already. They already had the template. So why? Of course I'm gonna be mad. But then they was like, well, look, now we're gonna make Scorpion the main person. I'm gonna be cool with Scorpion being the main person because he's been there. You know what I'm saying? I love Scorpion. Scorpion is my dude. You know what I'm saying? So why put somebody new in there? Who knows? Maybe they was trying to get, hey man, new character coming out. I would have been okay with a legacy character. It's like people do, like our opinions about this stuff. We don't know all of the nuances on why they did what they did. I can definitely say it was because of money. You know, we know it's for money, right? It's always for money. But at the end of the day, we don't know what mindset they was going behind doing this stuff or what control until later on. Till you find out, oh man, they wanted to put Cole Young in there because they wanted to get a more female audience and they wanted this young guy to be the new because they thought Hero was too old and this and that. I'd be like, oh man, that happened. The movie came out 10 years ago. Who cares now? Who cares now?
Damn, that movie that
Oh no, it ain't that. I don't think it's that old. It came out. No, matter of fact, I think it's 5 years old because I think it came out in 2020
but
or
they
at least
did bring out
2021.
they brought out a young Liu Kang. You know, so like I said, when it comes to adaptations like that, it's like I feel like you said we don't know the reasoning, but I feel like it's still not a good reason because you have the opportunity to have, say, for instance, you don't know anything about Borderlands, but say had they had as the stayed chronologically to the story, me as a fan could have got other people who's non-fans, and so you would have already guaranteed had my dollar or guaranteed had my money. But I would have been like, dude, you got to see this, blah, 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 this, that, and third. And people who like movies would go see it. I feel like if people who like movies would see it, and the people who are fans would be the one to hype it up instead of being it's just out there, and the people who like movies either going to see it, but you already lost the several million from the fan base who could hype up your franchise, who could hype up your movie for
I
give
mean,
you the
I
plug.
think is a fine line to ride because you want to appeal to people. Because like, let's just call the movie Borderlands, but then it's not Borderlands, right? It's not Borderlands, but we calling it Borderlands, which has been times where people have done this, where man, they shouldn't even just call that movie that. They should just call it something new, like the Resident Evil TV show on Netflix. That didn't have to be called Resident Evil. right? It could have been called something else, and it could have been fine as another show, right? But they want the Resident Evil people to come and see it, right? So that's the fine line that they trying to. Is always there's always a stipulation behind it, because at the end of the day, you have something that's already created and has a fan base behind it, and that's the reason why we're making a movie. But you also don't want to recreate what was already there, because then it's just a big production to remake the book, which it works out sometimes and sometimes it don't work out. The
But that's
times like I
crazy
said, why is that crazy?
because the only reason why you're using this as franchise as the IP is because of its popularity in the first. So you're creating something that's popular that has this fan base, and you're reenacting it because of its how big it is. Why are you going to utilize that far as name and recognition, but then turn around and say, you know what? But we're gonna do our own thing. But the only reason why you're doing it, using the name and recognition in the first place, because you realize how big it is in the first place. So to me, that doesn't make sense. If the original source material is big, why? You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make
Right.
sense because that's the only reason why you.
Well, I mean, yeah, that is true. The only reason why you're doing it, the only reasoning I could put behind it, a rationale I could put behind it, is that the television, like sometimes a series is way too big to fit into an hour and a half, right? And so you have to figure out all the mechanics behind the scenes to get this on a screen. If you have somebody write the screenplay, have somebody write, somebody who's a good director, all these actors, all these key grips, all these people, all these sets and everything that needs to be in production, it's easy to write it down on a piece of paper and or draw it. Sometimes, like for the creator, yes, they have all this stuff in their mind, but like for example, I know we keep hopping from IP to IP, but for example, Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, when with the source material they had, the books, they did a great job with the television show. But then when the guy didn't have the books and he just told them what the fuck was gonna happen, they fucked it up. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't have a basis to go off of. And sometimes that is a good thing to do. But then sometimes they say this is not going to translate into a movie. This is not going to translate into a movie, but we already bought the IP. You know what I'm saying? We already bought the IP. It could always be an amount of laziness, like I said before. They're not as passionate about it. They're not as passionate about it. They just want money, right? So if they say, if if there's a company that I wanted to sell Fire Ruin to, I would probably wouldn't trust a lot of companies to buy Fire Ruin, even though they offering me the most. You know what I'm saying? Just because I don't think you're going to be as passionate about it. Now, if a director came to me and was like, look, I work with Sony. I have a vision for Fire Ruin. I did these projects, this and that and the third. I'm probably going to be more able to go towards this guy because I feel like he's more passionate about it. Now, this guy could be completely lying to me. You know what I'm saying? He could be lying. But I had to make that choice to either sell it to this guy or sell it to a company. If I say, well, Sony's offering me $2 billion or $3 billion to do Fire Run, I'm like, am I going to be involved? Yeah, no. Well, do you already have something written up for Fire Run? No, we just seen that you sold 3 million copies in 2 years, and we just wanted to make an adaptation while strike while the iron is hot. And I'm like, nah,
Yeah, see?
yeah, I don't
Fucking
know.
agree.
You know what I'm saying? Am I gonna
Right.
be involved? Am I gonna be involved? How much am I gonna be involved? We're gonna give you complete freedom. Now I gotta turn into a set director, right?
Right.
I ain't no artist no more. I can't even work on the next Fire Ruin book. I got to work on this fucking set now. You know what I'm saying? And that's usually what happens, I feel like. Because at the end of the day, if you already made it, then that doesn't make it. I mean, that's cool. That's why I think what happened to the Game of Thrones guy. The Game of Thrones guy was like, I'm writing the book, I wrote the book, I wrote the book. It's popular. People want to make a show out of it. HBO is going to do it right. They did it right. And now they didn't caught up to him. And he was like, well, shit. I ain't even finished the book yet. You know what I'm saying? And now people are like, when is the book coming out? Because we want to see, because they fucked up on the show. We want to see the book now. And he was like, man, I don't know if I can do the book now. Because I've been so involved in trying to get the show together. Who knows? Maybe that's.
I'll say this. I'm gonna say this, and we're going to end it because as you can see, I'm losing. I'm
right.
losing my light source. But I will say
Right.
a good scenario that this happened that I feel like someone did a good job was on Full Metal Alchemist. Because the same thing happened on Full Metal Alchemist, you know, with that and Brotherhood. Because they had called up to the manga and they did their own thing. And then when the manga came out, they redid it, which I feel like they did justice to both people. The people who had to improvise, I feel like they did a pretty good job on it. Now, then again, this coming from someone who haven't read the manga. So again, that goes back to saying like, hey man, this ain't the virgin source material. So I'm assuming Brotherhood was off the manga.
Yeah.
I do know the one before Brotherhood wasn't, and I feel like they did a good job.
So coincidentally,
Not
you
being a
brought
manga.
this up because I did see like a little video of somebody doing an analysis on the old Full Metal Alchemist and the new Full Metal Alchemist, and they kind of did like a deep dive in it, and they were saying that a lot of people just throw aside the first anime adaptation and just go and say Brotherhood is the better adaptation, which is true to a certain extent because yes, it's more faithful to the manga. Yes, it has more story beats, but then it says the nuances in the past series were much darker and the story beats were more focused on more of the consequences of doing human transmutation, right? So instead of greed and the homunculi being created by Father, who is the ultimate villain at the top of the chain, and he has his minions. In the original series, they were created by humans who tried human transmutation, which is a taboo thing. And so the homunculus were made from people's mistakes, if that make any sense. If they tried to do human transmutation, they created a homunculus. And so that probably has a little bit more weight into it than maybe this hierarchy of Father and his minions, right? Even
Motion.
though that is a good aspect and it was told good as a story, that people look at that past series as, well, people don't even look at it that way because they just go to the Brotherhood and think it's the best adaptation. But me being a fan of both, I understand both, how they both could be. Of course, the ending in the last one is more psychological and maybe more I guess mental. And I didn't have any problem with it, but if you go by the tone of the show, it makes sense, right? Because they're saying that it was basically a two type of world thing at the end of the first series. The first series, you'll have these people will basically living in the door world. So, you know, when you do human transmutation is the door of truth. In the door, you could go through that door and it's a different world. It's a real world without people, without alchemist powers and everything. So these people living behind this door is living in the world where the homunculus and alchemy exist, but the people on the other side of that door is the real, actual people.
Mm.
And it was more of a mental kind of situation. And I get it from how the dark of the tone the show was. So I mean, I guess to answer your question, or to I guess add to what you were saying, is that adaptations that are done good have their own story behind it, or their own thing, but it's not actually bound to the creator's idea. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, because like I said, I use that as an example for saying that when, like you said, it was written good, then it really, to the point. I feel like if you respect the IP, then it can be accepted. Because even though it wasn't one for one on how it was going through when it caught up to the manga, I feel like it respected the IP enough to know the basis of that universe and try to create his own thing. It didn't go super crazy with it like it did with The Last Airbender or Borderlands. I feel like they didn't respect the IP, but I can
Mhm.
respect what Full Metal Alchemist did. You know what I'm saying? Because they respect the IP.
So you don't think they respected The Witcher IP when they
No,
create all these other stories about these other characters?
no, I don't feel they're doing the Witcher series justice when they respect an IP, because they're still taking away the main thing of the Witcher series, which is the Witch. We're following Geralt of Rivia's story. We're not following everybody else's story. Geralt, we're introduced through these people through Geralt. So if they caught up to the Witcher series and didn't know what else to do, but we still was following Witcher, Geralt, and he was having these other situations and stuff like that, people will still respect that more than they just going and doing a 180 and just doing their own thing. Like with the homunculi. Homunculi was from father. But like you said, they say, well, in this world, transmutation is still how these things created, and there's consequences for doing certain transmutations. So maybe greed was created through someone's emotion when they did a fucked up transmutation. Either way it goes, it was in the bounds of that universe. The possibilities of that universe to me is still the same. I feel like they respected the IP enough for that. But when it
I mean,
comes,
but I guess debate that the side characters that they
no,
embellished
they
or
can
made
create
more
side.
story. No, it wasn't side characters, but the other characters in the Witcher series might not have had these stories told in the game, but they did tell good stories about these people in the Netflix show.
So
So
why not call it The Witcher Yennefer's Trials or The Witcher Triss Ruin or something? Why not use that so where you can say, okay, we understand that this is what this is about? Because I feel like it's false advertising. If you're going to say it's based off of this, but if you're going to say, let's, like I said, with Fire Ruin scattered in, it's a side story off of Fire Ruin, then say that. If you want to do something with this, with Siri and Triss and Yennefer, then create. Nothing's fine, nothing's wrong with that. But don't make it sound like you're creating an adaptation off The Witcher, and then you're going to put stuff that didn't happen in The Witcher in this. If you want to make it something else, make it something. You know what I'm saying? I can respect it taking place in The Witcher's universe. I can respect that.
Mhm.
They could have did that. They say, hey, this are telling of what these things happened to Yennefer while she was trying to become a witch. The books may not have emphasized everything that happened to Yennefer. So they were like, okay, we're going to talk about Yennefer's story. It would have been great then. I feel like, it would have been,
I
it
mean,
would have been,
I feel like it still was great. It's just that you was expecting something else.
oh yeah, because I'm expecting the adaptation. I'm not expecting to see what they're showing. Like I said,
Hmm.
if you're going to show it to me. If you wanted to make it about that, then make it about that. But don't piss on my head and tell me it's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because it's
I mean, but if you don't like it, then just say that, right? If you don't like
yeah,
it,
I
then
don't like.
say that.
That's the whole
Yeah.
point. I don't like. I don't
Well,
like it if it ain't going to do it correctly. Don't.
the question I have for you is that why don't you like it?
I don't like.
Because it's not about girl.
I don't like it because yeah, for one, they're telling stories to my knowledge. To my knowledge, and I can be corrected. Y'all can correct me, but to my knowledge, they're making up stories. Some stories they're tweaking and putting it in, but they're making up stories. But they completely took out what it's supposed to be, which is The Witcher, which is Geralt of Rivia. It's his story is what the Netflix show supposed to be about. If it's not going to be about him, then say don't use that title to get, you know what I'm saying, to get the name recognition, to get the people to look at. That's why I felt also.
So it seemed like you're going back to what the question I asked you is why don't you like it? Is that because the name? Is that it?
I don't like the reason why I don't like it. It seems very dishonest and forced to me. Now I stopped watching it, but again, based off my expectations of me seeing this live action version of Geralt of Rivia's story, which is The Witcher's about, and you're not showing me it didn't give, and then I'm seeing stuff that I don't recognize. I'm like, you're just making shit up, but you're saying it's supposed to be about. If they would have
So
said
you
something different, I
so
would accept.
is your judgment on the quality of the show, or is your judgment on them not having what you want in the show?
All right, so the quality of the show, from what I've seen, which I believe it was like the first two seasons, from the quality of the show, um, the aesthetics look good to me. I will say that as far as some using magic, monsters look good, you know. And I think that they was on the right track when it came to that. But The Witcher isn't always, it's not necessarily about the magic or the combat and stuff. The Witcher is typically really about the story. Like if you ever played the Witcher video games or read the book, it's shit ton of side stories in there. And then there's a shit ton of side stories in the video game. Of course, it's not in the books. But the storytelling is phenomenal, right? And it still build more on towards the universe and that character, you know. So I
So
feel like
hold on. I'm confused. The question I asked you was, is your judgment on the quality of the show or what you expected from the show? So
I feel like both now because I feel like the quality of the show has went down. The quality of the show has went down horrifically, and what I expected of the show has drastically went down. So
okay, so when your first season of watching it and stuff like that, and you seen it wasn't about Geralt as much as you thought it was gonna be, and then the quality, what you was just saying is that the quality was good, the way they did the magic, the way they did the monsters, the way they did the the setting of the show was good. The quality was good at the beginning, and then it went down. I'm I'm guessing what I'm asking is, since it was a good quality at the beginning, the story wasn't what you expected it to be. But it did have Geralt in it, and it didn't focus on him as much throughout the subsequent seasons. It didn't focus on him as much throughout the subsequent seasons, so that's what made you go away from watching the show. But if it's still good with quality and storytelling, why didn't your brain switch where it's like, well, look, it ain't about Geralt as much, but the show is okay, and so I'm gonna continue to watch it. It's not what I expected it to be, but the quality is good, and I feel like if I'm not going, was your decision? Well, let me ask you this question, and forget about the other questions. This question, and then I'm gonna let you answer. Is your decision on what you expected changed why you don't like it?
No, because when I was watching it and it was taking majority of Geralt out of the season and stuff like that, and it was showing Yennefer in the schools and all that stuff like in the beginning, it was somewhat intriguing, but it's not bad because it didn't show 100% of Geralt. The story and everything started to go to shit. It started to be like really stupid. The storytelling was bad, and that's what I mean by quality. It was already at a point where I'm like, all right, it's already gone away from Geralt, but now they're doing the stories that they're telling is not worth my time listening and watching. So you done went away from everything to where I don't even recognize the show anymore. So now I just don't watch it because it's not good. You know what I'm saying? Even had it went to Witcher Yennefer's trials, you know what I'm saying? I still would have dropped it because the story quality of it got started to get is it was getting dumb at the point to where I'm what is this? And when it got to with Siri and I tried to watch it, it just I don't know. It just felt like everything all around just wasn't kept grasping my attention. It wasn't worth my time to watch. So I just stopped watching it because I got
I mean, yeah, I understand that. I understand that. I mean, it's not that I'm trying to convert you. I
no.
just wanted to understand. I'm just trying to understand like what made you like. I'm trying to get down to the point of why you stopped watching it or why you don't like it. Because if you say you don't like it because it wasn't about Garrett, that's cool to say that. But then if you didn't like the show just in general, you wouldn't have watched it at all. You know what I'm saying?
So
Kind of
that's what
like
I
how I felt about. I kind of felt the same way about Game of Thrones. Like the House of the
season.
Dragon is a different story. Well, House of the Dragon is a different story. It's the story before what happened in Game of Thrones. I like this show. I like the show, but then they come out with another show in between it that
With
has nothing to do with House of the Dragon. Yeah, the night thing. I was like, I'm not watching that. I'm not watching that. I don't give a
right,
fuck. I don't care. I'm not watching
right.
that. You know what I'm saying? But they said it's not. Now, if they would have said it's House of the Dragon season 3, I would have been pissed because I'm like, this ain't got no dragons in it, right? Right? And you were like, hold up, this is not House of the Dragon season 3. This is an offshoot. It's like if they started it off, but then they went back, flashback, and all this is new shit. I'm like, why they gonna flashback a whole season, but then call it Game of Thrones, right? I would be mad. That's why I was trying to get down to the point. The show didn't seem like it was gonna be about Garrett from the beginning, kinda. You know what I'm saying? It had him in it, but it didn't
No,
like
the first
if
season
you
had a
like
lot
it.
of Gary.
But like I was saying, if it had a lot of him in it, and by the second season, it was like, hold up, we going some flashbacks about Jennifer and this and that and the third. It's like, hold up, I ain't interested in that. I'll catch it when they get back to Geralt. But if they didn't, then I was like, hey, I'd save myself some time, bro. Because I was like, look, it's 4 seasons in now, and they ain't got Geralt in it. And now I'm hearing that Geralt is somebody else. I would have been saved my time. You know what I'm saying? Now the new House of the Dragon is back. The new House of the Dragon is back, and it's started right from where I was. I ain't watched that other show, the Arthur or whatever, the Knight or whatever. It started right back where I was at the second season, and that's all I need.
And see, but I can forgive that though, because with the with the new Game of Thrones, they made it clear that this is an offshoot from something else. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it's either you want to give it a shot because it's in that universe and you want to know more about it, or you're not. But they at least
Right.
gave you the option. They didn't say this is House of the Dragon season 3, and then gave you author and all that stuff. You're like, what the fuck is this shit? So I can respect that, and I feel like that's what they should have did for The Witcher. They could have been like, this is what this is about. And had they had took Garrett off of it, they could have said, we're gonna do this offshoot starting from this way. And if they wanted to go back to Garrett or Richard with Liam
Mm-hmm.
Hemsworth, then they could have. But
Right.
don't just continue on with it and take away the thing that makes The Witcher the Witcher. Like you said, it's like watching a House of Dragon without watching with dragons in it. But I
Right.
I didn't finish House of Dragon. I watched the first season, but I didn't finish it. Game of Thrones, they, like I said, when they got to book season 8, it fell off because, whatever. But like I said before, in Full Metal Alchemist, if it's good writing and they respect the art, I still will. And I feel like I gave them a shot and they didn't even do it right. So
Right.
made it good, I would have just kept watching straight up. I would be like, okay, but they fumbled. So I'm like, hey, I'm good with it.
I guess in closing, I guess the adaptations, there's a very thin line. And maybe when you writing your stories, maybe when you trying to create your IPs, maybe, you know, if you have other stories that could be told, just be clear about the story. You know what I'm saying? Just be clear that this is not a story that's the main story. This is the off story. This is a flashback. And maybe your audience can gain in there in that sense. You got anything you want to close with, man? Because
No, I wholeheartedly
we've
agree.
been going for a good 2 hours strong, and I felt like we gave them enough today, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I wholeheartedly agree. That was the whole thing. Like I said, with Fire Room, Scattered Embers, I feel like if you're going to create something and you have another story to tell, if you want to expand more of that universe, I feel like do it. Because I honestly, people would love to know more about Yennefer. People would love to know more about Triss. People would love to know more about these things that happen in the universe other than the base story. There's a lot. So like the Lord of the Rings, that was like offshoot of what the Lord of the Rings tale or whatever, and it was following, I guess the one who originally found the ring or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Like I said, I didn't read the books, but there's ways to do it correctly and respect the IP. Just say
Yeah.
it, and
Right.
don't just use
Yeah.
the IP.
Like
Just say it.
what Harry Potter and the Fantastical Beasts, they definitely didn't respect the IP, man. They as what Jade says, because I don't know. I ain't read the books, so
I didn't read the books
you know what
either,
I'm
so
saying.
I've seen all the movies, but I didn't see the book. I didn't
Yeah.
read the books. But to me, it
Right.
was.
Well, yeah. Look, I'm gonna leave y'all with a closing quote, man, and but try to leave y'all with something inspirational sometimes, and sometimes it's just real. So I'm gonna leave y'all with this: no matter how good you are and how well you do something, people are gonna forget you. Decide what's important and be present. Be present as a father, be present as a mother, as a son, a daughter. Focus on what's important to you. And with that, we're going to say peace. I'll holler at y'all later and keep drawing, keep creating, and do something nice with somebody every once in a while.
Ha! All right, then. I agree
One,
with
two, peace.
it.
Peace.